So, sanchara and vyabhichara, they, in this context here, mean the same thing. The bhav cannot stay and sustain by itself. Either there will be other sanchari bhavas very soon entering, or the dominant emotion coming in. All right, this said, we'll take up this observation a little later. Now we go to something else. Let me begin now with the term rasa. There is the common usage of the word rasa. Rasa, fruit. Fruit has rasa. Everything has a juice. If you want to make an extract out of it, some way or the other you can have extracts of rose, which is in the form of a perfume. You can even have extract of hard metals by turning them into vapors, and they then become more powerful. It becomes more effective somewhere or the other. And the doctrine of rasa, therefore, has a whole history to it. I will read out a few things to you from my book, and then we can talk. But before that, let me say what is the Sutra. We are not talking here of the rasa that the yogis experience. We are not talking here of the rasa of food in the kitchen. We are not talking here of the rasa that men and women have in criticizing others. Paraninda paracharcha rasa. That is also a rasa. So there are many kinds of rasas. Whatever your mind is involved in, you have always a purpose there. The Natyashastra itself says, Nahi rasadrite kaschid arthaha pravartate. If I am not able to make something interesting for you, you will not listen. You will listen forcibly for a short while, and then you will go and tell Leela Samson ji that absolutely boring, we can hear him for one day, for maybe 2 days, but please now, it's enough. So unless there is a situation where you get lost in it, where you get involved in it, the thing will not be seeming to be meaningful to you. It will not have any artha. Arth always does not mean money. It means a prayojan. It means something you get involved in, something you like staying in for a while. Artha, it should have a value for you. You should go back to it. So, if in a painting there is a rasa, then there will be meaning. If in a conversation there is interest, then you will enjoy that conversation and find it meaningful. If in a relationship it is enjoyable, then there is a purpose for you to continue that relationship. Otherwise you will ask for or divorce or whatever. So, nahi rasadrite kaschid artha pravartate. For any kind of human communication, it is essential to have rasa. Here we are talking in the context of, primarily in the context of art or theatre. So in theatre, in art, how is it that we obtain rasa? And there is a Rasa Sutra which is enunciated by Bharata Muni. And what is that? It is Tatra Vibhavanubhav Vyabhichari Samyogad Dras Nishpattihi. Tatra means in Natya, in art, in plays. Tatra in Rupakas, Vibhav, Anubhav, Vyabhichari, Samyoga. By a sanyog, by a coming together of these three, by a coming together of these three, we have rasa. So, what are these three? Tatra vibhav, anubhav, vyabhichari. They make a sanyog, and then there is a rasa and nishpatti. So we have now several terms here. Vibhav, vyabhichari, anubhav, sanyog, rasa and nishpatti. 6. And I can tell you that there are perhaps 6,000 pages by Vyakhyakas and different aestheticians on these 6 things. What is Vibhava, what is Anubhava, what is Rasa, etc. As it is said that for the great Pandit lions, it is a method of sharpening their nails, a discussion on these 6. So, in plain language, it has been one of the greatest point of discussion. Our learned Madam Sundari, sitting at the back, she has also written a book on the later period of the later aesthetes, Mammut and later. And there, of course, again, the issue is the same. The issue is rasa. Now, in English, we can also call bhava or bhava abhivyanjana as emotional arousal. You see, I explained to you something very clearly, that here when we say bhava, emotion, we mean thought and emotion. But in the whole of the Indian system of art, we arouse this emotion. We make it very prabal, uddipta. Unless it is aroused, unless you are excited emotionally, there will be no rasa. Unless there is bhava abhivyanjana, then unless it is there, there can be no rasa nishpatti, or there can be no experience of rasa. Now the first term bhava, I am going to just give you a quick translation of the text of Bharat Muni instead of reading the text and then the translation. The question is asked, why is it that these emotions or these states are called bhavas? Is it because they happen to be bhavanti iti bhava? Because you have emotions in life, you have emotions in heart, you have emotions in other people's hearts. Just because they are there, bhavanti, they are, they happen to be. Therefore, are they for that reason bhavanti iti bhava? Or because they bhavayanti iti bhava? Bhavayanti, that is, they expand the meaning. They communicate, they go from one to another. If you remember, Yesterday in the first talk I said that abhinay does not mean acting. Yasmat prayogam nayate. Yasmat prayogam nayate tasmat abhinaya smrita. That activity, angik vachik satvik aharya, which communicates the prayog from one to another, that is the same as bhavayanti. It expands. I am saying something, the meaning is being expanded through words, through gestures here, it's going to you. So that is bhavayanti. So bhavayanti iti bhava or bhavanti iti bhava or both. It is said because the agencies of verbal, gestural and subtle action, they communicate bhavayanti, the meaning of kavya, they are called bhavas. And bhava, desire, vasana, and the completed action is done, all mean the same thing. So there are three words used: vasana, kritam, which means an act, and the expansion. All these three things happen, and indeed all mean the same thing. In common usage, that from term bhava, bhavitam is used to indicate impregnation, as in the sentence, indeed this perfume, this flavor has impregnated everything. So when we say that this perfume has pervaded the room, bhavayanti. Similarly, this bhava in the context of natya, the sthai and the sanchari bhava, because they expand, therefore they are called bhavas. If you want, I could just find out the Sanskrit here, of which I have read the translation. I think it is in the 7th, not in the 6th. Well, भावान इदानीं व्याख्यास्यामः अत्राह भावा इति कस्मात्. Why do we call them bhava? In the 6th chapter, because they are more concerned with rasa, therefore they examine the relationship between bhava and rasa. And they go into the question, is rasa giving birth to bhava or bhava giving birth to rasa? So that's what they have taken, because the 6th chapter is entirely on the issue of rasa. Here in the 7th, they come into the definition of bhava and vibhava. For the purpose of analysis and understanding, first we have to go into what is bhava and vibhava. Then we can go back to rasa. So atraha bhava iti kasmat iti bhavanti iti bhava. Kim va bhavayanti iti bhava. I read the translation to you. Uchyate, and they say that vak ang sattva upetan kavyarthan bhavayanti iti bhava. They expand what? Kavyarthan. When they give us the meaning of kavya. Now, by kavya, please don't misunderstand poetry. Today, in modern Indian languages, at least the two languages that I know, Hindi and Gujarati, kavya means poetry only. But before the rise of modern Indian languages, kavya meant any composition done through words, unless it's a technical text like Ayurveda text or something. So, natak was kavya. Natakas are considered to be kavya. They are part of kavya. By natak, I don't mean just the Rupak natak, but all the Dashavidha natak, all the plays. Natya as a whole is also kavya. This is the first thing we did yesterday when we considered the definition of natya, and we said that it includes poetry, it includes all the performing arts. So, तथा च भावो वासना कृतम इति अनर्थांतरम लोके अपि च प्रसिद्धम अहो हि अनेन गंधेन रसेन वा सर्वम इति भवितम तच्च व्याप्ति अर्थम. So by the explanation, by giving an example that look, this perfume or this taste has really pervaded everything, it has aroused the emotion. Similarly, bhavas communicate. If they do not communicate, then they are not bhavas. So, my personal emotions, my sitting back and thinking of my condition, oh, I am now very old now, I am retired, I am about, don't have much income, and if I think of all these depressing things or even exciting things, personally sitting, that is emotion, all right. That is emotion and thought, all right. But in the context of theater, that doesn't concern us. Because it's not communication. This is something I am doing sitting. This is personal, felt only by one person, restricted to the single person. Here we are talking of the bhava which is expressed. Expressive emotion. If you want to put it in English, then expressive thought and emotion. So if bhava is to be translated into English, it turns out to be a little cumbersome. Expressive thought and emotion. That is the... And how is this communicated? Vibhavena ahrito yo artho anubhavaiha tu gamyate vag ang sattvabhinayaiha sabhava iti sangitaha. Now, it cannot be communicated just by itself. There has to be a communicator. To express it, there have to be words. So somebody has to speak those words, or somebody has to do an angic expression of those words. And therefore, it has to be done by an agency which is called vibhava. Vibhavena ahrito. So the emotion is taken by vibhava. And it is further communicated and illustrated by the anubhava. So when you see the head down this way, then you can infer that the person is sad, because this is an anubhava. When a particular bhava has seized my body, then the body undergoes a change, a natural change, and that change in position, that change in the timbre of the voice, all these changes are called anubhavas. Because that which follows bhava or is the next step to bhava is anubhava. And how it is done in the context of natya, vak, anga, sattva, abhinayai. So by vachik, sattvic, angic, abhinay. And aharya, of course, here is presumed. And that which gets communicated is bhava. There are further explanation and verses that go on to explain it. Now, we have come through the description of bhava. But just recall the Rasa Sutra for a minute. Tatra vibhava anubhava vyavichari sanyogat. Bhav is not mentioned here. Sanchari bhav is mentioned here. There are many questions that arise. Let's not get into those questions for the moment. We can do that a little later or tomorrow. Let's first take the term vibhava. Atha vibhava iti